So today we're going to talk about Lexus. No, not about the LFA or the new electric cars that are going to come out to replace the LFA, but arguably the best V8 sports sedan ever been made, especially within the company. We're going to go back to the first F car, the Lexus ISF. I'm Z, and welcome to another episode of Monsters. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of ModStars. Again, I am your host Z. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share to the video, the channel. If you didn't watch last episode, it's actually about F-150 EcoBoost platforms. If you're into Ford, trucks, twin turbos, V8 Coyote engines, all that stuff is there. But we're going to talk about the ISF, so let's get started. Now the ISF ran from 2008 to 2014, believe it or not. It has a 5-liter V8 from Yamaha. It's very high revving, sounds pretty good, kind of like the LFA. So to say that it's the LFA engine with 2 cylinders cut off might be an oversimplification, might be accurate, I'm not sure, but it sounds good. It makes 360 horsepower to the wheels and 337 foot-pounds of torque. I'm reading wheel numbers because that's the only power that matters. It's the power that you can use. Now it has a 2.94 to 1 rear end final drive. We're going to talk about differentials, gearing, and all that other stuff in another video and the importance of that. It also has an 8-speed transmission and weighs about 3,780 pounds. Now for a sedan, that's pretty light, especially for today's standards with all the other extra things like electronics, safety features. I mean, nowadays a hatchback weighs like 3,200 pounds or more, and that's not a hatchback. That's like a station wagon or a minivan. So it's pretty light. Any common issues? Not really. Keep in mind, Lexus is a sister company of Toyota, so there's that. Some early model ISFs had water pump issues, but there was a simple fix for that, and later models just didn't have that problem. And of course, there are some little interior trim pieces that were an issue, but again, early model cars, I mean, what first year model car of any kind doesn't have some type of quirk or issue, right? Only other thing about it is that, I mean, it depends on how your height too, because Lexus doesn't really make, okay, I'll say it like this: if you want space on a Lexus, just buy an SUV, period. Might be enough space for you though. Depending on how tall you are, you may or may not have to get a bucket seat. That's all I'm going to say. But, they're cool. In the used market, I've seen the cheapest that I could find was a 2008, and it cost $29,000. And the most expensive one that I found was a 2012 at $50,000, which is ridiculous. I mean, in the future, when this whole COVID thing is done and the inflation craze has died down as well, you guys are going to watch this and think what I'm talking about. So, inflation basically caused the price of everything to go up, including used cars. It's ridiculous. When these cars, before COVID, regardless of the year, all went for less than 30 grand. Its rival is the E90 M3s. They both came out at the same time. The M3 is more popular, and I believe, even to this date, with inflation, it's a cheaper car. It's still probably under 30 grand, believe it or not. Now, ISFs are rare, so that might be a case too. I mean, between 2 states, I've only seen like 5 of them, so there's that too. But yeah, it's a pretty cool car. What's impressive about the car, aftermarket-wise, is the fact that, kid you not, power-wise, because I know that's what everybody cares about. You don't have to put that much money into it to get power out of it. I'm talking like probably less than 4 grand in mods. Which, I mean, unless your car was turbocharged, like a BMW or something, you probably spend that or less too to get the same amount of power. So that's why I think it's really cool. So talking like anywhere from 420 to 444 horsepower, and I say that specifically because it's based on the YouTube videos that I've seen. The dyno videos that actually show the numbers when the car's on the dyno. Um, so, yeah. And you might be thinking, well, 400 horsepower is nothing. My Mustang has, stop. I don't care if you have a Mustang, Camaro, even the new 10-speed Camaro, honestly. Scat Pack, look. If you run, I'm just going to tell you right now, if you run one of these things modded, whether you know it or not, you might get your feelings hurt. You probably will get your feelings hurt. I'm just going to say it. Sleeper Lex is a YouTube channel to check out if you don't believe me. Guy ran 3 Scat Packs at once, 3 or 4 times in a row, and beat them all. What do you say to that? That's like one of your friends gets into a fight, two of your other friends jump in to help him, and they all get whooped by that one dude at the same time. You have no excuses. You have nothing to say about that. That's probably the ultimate case of outnumbered versus outmatched kind of deal. If that's not enough for you, same ISF, was it bolt-ons? I'm talking headers, exhaust, intake, tune, and I believe E25, not an E30 blend. Ran a GTO, Pontiac GTO, built head, cam, stuff like that. Roughly about 500 horsepower. Beat that a few times too from the 50 roll. So, and by the way, it's full weight. They didn't take out the interior, they didn't take out the rear seats. It's all there. Yeah. I don't know what else to say other than just a quick YouTube search will show you. If you don't want to look, I'll just show them in the description below. I'll link the videos down there. Now, that being said, as far as mods go, I'm not responsible for anything you do or don't do, any successes or failures. I mean, if the video helps you, great, but that's between you and what you choose to do with the car, or whatever shop you take it to. You make your bed, you sleep in it. As far as aftermarket goes, there's not much out there, but there's one company in particular that's pretty much created and kept the aftermarket going, and that company is no other than RR Racing. Now, the company is probably more so known about their Pro Charger kits for, the RCF, GSF, Porsche Carrera, the non-turbo 911s, and even the supercharging the GT3 and GT3 RS, believe it or not. But again, we'll say that for another video. What we're going to talk about here is just, usually I have to piece, the parts together in the videos and give you guys a price breakdown because I want you guys to spend the least amount of money with the greatest result. But in this case, their business model is basically like, hey, if you buy the headers with the tune, you'll get a discount. So equal length headers or racing headers, for example, on the website are around like $1,800, and if you got the headers with the tune and the intake, it's only $2,700 in parts. And with that, you're making like 420 horsepower. Not even adding like E25 or E30 mix in there. With that, you're probably making like 444. And I say that so specifically because I've seen videos where the power ranges from like 420 to 444 horsepower. And again, if it helps, I'll put the videos and link in the description below. But yeah, it's really hard to ignore. This is not gonna be like the super in-depth review every little part type video. But oh, by the way, all this stuff is on full weight. Nobody really takes the rear seats out. None of that stuff. If they did, of course, the car would be lighter. It'd be a different story. But no, this is full interior, just pretty much full bolt-ons. I don't know if you need the cats, like sport catalytic converters, on the headers. But if you do, I'll just tell you right now. MagnaFlow has high flow cats that are rated for about 500 horsepower, for about $300, and I believe it's Gesi, G-E-S-I, high flow cats. They've been around for a minute, and they're getting more popular now that states and countries are cracking down on emissions for cars, combustion cars. Anyways, those catalytic converters or high flow cats are good for pretty much 500 horsepower per cat. I don't think you need them, but if you want them, they're about $320 on the same website too. Also gonna need a air to oil separator. It's just how the intake plenum is designed on the car to keep carbon buildup from happening and detonation happening in the car. But you can get that with the power package of the headers and tuning and stuff like that. It's an option on their website to get that as well. Not that you necessarily need it, but it's better to have it and not need it. All right, and just some quick bonus round stuff, really quick. For anybody who wants to chase a quarter-mile time, uh, JLS Systems is another another YouTube channel, sorry, that I've watched. Shout out to JLS Systems. If you see this video, if you guys watch it, whatever. No, so going back to the differential thing, one of the ISFs on that YouTube channel has a GS450 hybrid rear diff, which is a 3.7 final drive versus the ISF's 2.94. Again, I'll explain the differences in final drives and differentials and gearing in another video. But with that, I found them on YouTube, or not YouTube, found them on eBay, sorry, for about $200, which is a steal. But then again, what else? What else can you do with them? So yeah, $200, get you a diff, and Sticky Racing has an aluminum drive shaft for $1,150 and a carbon fiber one for $1,650. Now this will save weight and also help with rotational speed. Oversimplifying all this right now, but acceleration is the name of the game at this point. That combination with the mods that I mentioned earlier and the sticky tire, I've seen an ISF on this channel run an 11.9 in a quarter mile. And to put that in perspective, like if anybody had a 2009, 2010 GTR that was stock, those are probably hard to find. Not a hard launch on the car. They're running 11.9s or 11.8s, just to put it in perspective for you. The new G80 M3 that came out just this year, that's running like 11.9s in a quarter mile as well. So you're doing this really power-wise alone. It's being done for less than $4,000, and adding the other parts, you could probably run those times more or less than $5,000. And there's no turbo that you have to worry about spooling, no supercharge you have to worry about replacing the belt on. Don't have to worry about taking out your seats because the car is quote-unquote too heavy. Just learn how to drive the car, maybe get a good tire on it. You're good to go. Running 11s. You're competing with just about anything you see out there. M3s, even brand new ones. Hellcats, as long as they're stock. Well, actually, as long as they get traction. So there's that. GTRs, depending on who's running what, from a roll, from a dig. Honestly, at that point, it doesn't really matter. You're competitive with just about anything on the road. You know, short from maybe some motorcycles, Tesla plaids, and the obvious things. So most of the stuff in your neighborhood or in your town, you're going to be able to, if not beat, then compete. So it's a done deal. And just to further push this idea, I know the ISF, or not ISF, the IS500 was just delivered about a couple weeks ago to customers. Save your money, honestly. I mean, the new IS350s used, ones with the facelift, they look really good. Used, they're going for $50,000 as well. Save your money. Don't even get a RCF or GSF, I don't think. Save a boatload. Find an ISF, $30,000 or less, and you can literally put everything I mentioned in this video in the car and still come out with less money spent on the overall car and parts than buying any of the brand new stuff, brand new cars. On paper, it pretty much is the same thing. 424. What's the IS500 putting out right now on paper? About 424, maybe 440. And then to the wheels it'd be what? Less. And it's also heavier. So which is the quicker car? And from what I've seen, the gearbox in the ISF response is a lot better than the IS500. I'm not trying to dog brand new cars, or Lexus for that matter. I'm just trying to push this idea that you can get what you want and not have to spend an arm and a leg to get it, or truth be told, try to get something you can't afford. And I know that's hard in car culture nowadays. Everybody wants to flex and say, hey, look at me, when they spend money they don't have to impress people they don't even like. So, I digress. If you're interested in ISF, in conclusion, this is what you can do on a very simple and affordable measure. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you think. Comment on what you would do if you got an ISF. Have you seen one? Have you raced any? Just let me know what you think about the cars and would you get one. Again, I'm your host Z. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great day.